Okay. Good evening. I'd like to welcome you all to the Administration and Finance Fire Committee meeting number 1 for 2018. And my name is Councilor Terry Ball, and I will be chairing this meeting. I will now call this meeting to order. On the tables to your left, you'll see sign-up sheets. If you have not already signed one and wish to be informed of the outcome of items on the agenda, please read them and sign the appropriate sheet. Just a reminder, members of the council and the public, all cell phones, pagers, pagers and PDAs to be turned off. Additionally, for your information, we are audio and voice recording this meeting. Are there any change in order of items on the agenda? Seeing none. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and or conflict of interest. Seeing none. Appointments. We have 2 appointments tonight. Procedural bylaws section 6-5C, schedule appointments and or presentations. Each scheduled appointment or presentation shall be allotted a maximum of 10 minutes exclusive of the time required to answer questions from the members of council. Some exceptions may apply. Our first one is item A101-18. Dave Willis, would you like to come forward, please? Excuse me before you start, Dave. Sorry, I missed one very important thing. We have 2 people absent. Mayor Joyner sends his regrets, and also Mike Rayner is absent, and he sends his regrets. And the third thing is that Architects 14 from Ball Construction, they were to do a presentation tonight. They will not be doing it. They had to cancel this afternoon, but they will be coming back in February to present that. Okay, thank you. Sorry, Dave. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman Bell. Councilors, gallery, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Dave Willis from the, I'm representing the Christmas in the Village, our parade committee report to the council. Our event took place November 25th, 2017, and Mother Nature smiled on us again with showers in the morning and the evening. But for the parade, the weather was great with a mix of sun and cloud and temperatures around the 6 or 7 degree mark with no winds. The day started with breakfast with Santa at the Smithville United Church. 150 folks enjoyed breakfast, donating $324 to community care. About 60 children sat on Santa's lap and told him of their wishes. The craft, bake, and Christmas pudding sale at St. Luke's went well. The theme for the 2017 Christmas parade was the North Pole and boasted some 71 entries. The Stampak milk truck gave out 127 gallons of free hot chocolate, approximately 1,920 cups. Another treat was from the Niagara Pallets, who passed out some 3,000 cookies. Supplies ran out about the town hall on the route. The good weather brought out approximately 10,000 kids of all ages who watched the parade, with some 650 actually participating. Many entries passed out candies to the kids. As an example, Zion Free Christian Church handed out some 5,000 candy canes. West Lincoln Community Care was very well supported again this year. At the traffic light, True Men's Barbershop passed out hot, warming apple cider that was enjoyed by some 40 people who donated $54. Curbside Fries donated a portion of sales at $50. Alexander's Fudge donated $109 from sales, while Ken and his hot dog cart raised some $50 as well. St. Martin's School collected 71 pieces of Gesundheit. 71 pieces of winter wear for, I usually do 3, Joanne. You owe me one. Yes, St. Martin School collected 71 pieces of winter wear for kids from donors along the route. The food drive by the West Lincoln firefighters collected 94 bags containing some 494 pounds of food for the local West Lincoln Community Care Food Bank. West Lincoln Chamber conducted a Toonies for Toys campaign and collected $1,611.75 for community care along the parade route. They also collected some toys for Christmas. Canada Post Elves collected 101 letters to Santa from kids along the way. The parade took 1 hour and 10 minutes to pass any given point. The day continued with activities at the arena. Art on Ice had some 18 artists. Later, the free skate at the arena, sponsored by Top Farms, had about 51 in attendance. The revised route again worked very well, with better distribution of spectators and better breakup at the end. Thank you to the residents of West Lincoln for their participation in the all-day event. This includes those who worked so hard in organizing the day, to those who participated and with an entry, and to those who watched the day's event unfold. If you missed the parade or didn't see it because you were participating, go to the Smithville Public Library and ask for the slide presentation. Signed, your Christmas in the Village Committee. We'd like to thank the past CAO, Chris Carter, and Mayor Doug Joyner for their assistance with traffic control, and the Niagara Region for the Niagara Region Police Service, as well as really appreciated for help from Public Works with the road barricades. We are appealing to Council to again give us a grant for 2018 to help us with the ever-increasing costs of implementing the parade. Since at least 2019, the Council has granted us $1,000 each year. Last year, you granted us $3,000. We are again asking for the same amount. The reason for the increase are as follows. As you recall, last year we ran into some problems with the Niagara Region regarding road sharing and road closures. We've been informed that this cost for closure and signage will now be approximately $1,500, an assessment that we've never had before. The cost of bands are going up annually. In 2017, we paid $4,350 more than in 2009. The same applies to the cost of policing, which have increased over the years, but with the intervention of Mayor Joyner and the past CAO, Chris Carter, they were instrumental in getting us 2 complimentary constables. Wendy Beatty made a tremendous contribution to the work of the committee as a committee member and a liaison with the township to the parade committee. Wendy, in our view, has also done an outstanding job, not only this year, but in past years as well, in putting a lot of work into time and coordinating the township float entry. The parade committee would ask that Council approve Wendy as the liaison to the committee again in 2018. Of course, some time would have to be expended during the day in fulfillment of her duties. Our committee works very hard during the year fundraising for the parade. We hold an annual barbecue that netted us $929 in 2017. The local businesses and sponsors donated some $9,148 to help with expenses in order to maintain the biggest small-town parade around. We need your assistance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walls. Is there any
Questions?
questions? And, he knows. Councilor Dan?
Just one comment, if I may, through you, Mr. Chair. I think the parade is terrific. I liked watching it before I took part. I've enjoyed taking part in it, and I know a lot of people do a lot of work. And I think that probably you do a whole lot of work with not a whole lot of money, and that's great. Except for the one thing that has come back to me, although people liked the parade, the thank you in the paper, and this is going to sound a little bit petty perhaps, but it just says, as everybody's listed alphabetically, I had 4 or 5 different people point out to me that in the midst of all that, it just says township. Doesn't say West Lincoln Township, doesn't say Township of West Lincoln, doesn't say anything but Township. So I think what's happened probably is the list of donors is made, the township gives a donation, it gets put on the list, but when it's been published in each of the places, in the newspaper and also in our newsletter that goes out, it sort of goes the same way. So I would just ask, maybe, for some small clarification of the fact that it is West Lincoln Township that's helped. I don't think that that's, it's petty, but it might make somebody feel better, that some tax money. People who go are always like, well, do we put anything into this? You know, who does something with this? Does the town help with this? I just think acknowledging that help might be something to think about in the future.
What township would they expect?
Well, exactly. But I'm just saying, it doesn't matter. It
All right, food for
should
thought.
say. Yeah,
Yeah,
it should
yeah.
say, I think, West Lincoln Township. So, anyway, small thing.
Anyone else? Councilor Chichuk?
I guess I would have to say thank you to all the volunteers and the committee for what it is that they've done through Mr. Chair. It wouldn't be Christmas without the parade, and I find it interesting that those in my family would actually like to be part of the parade rather than watching it, which is really interesting. So it's an exciting time where the magic of Christmas gets to be shared with the community, and I think it pulls the community together. So I'm sure that when we deliberate budget, we'll be looking at the funding that you're requesting, Mr. Willis, but I do think that the thank you that you get from children is not screamed out loud enough, but I certainly hear it throughout the year. And you remember that picture I was in, or do you remember that picture I was in, throughout the community? So
Yeah.
for all that good work, you should be very proud, as should your committee, and thank you very much for continuing the good work.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Next is item AO2-18, Glenn Boy, campaign coaches, fundraising campaign.
Good evening. The last time we met, I think we were here to deliver the results of the campaign feasibility study. We raised your hopes and set that goal at $1.5 million. We're very comfortable that we can achieve that goal as well. And today I want to share with you some of the activities that have been happening over the last few months that we've been focusing our attention on. Two of the major activities that we were looking at was trying to get the right materials together and tell the story correctly, but also try to get the right theme and look for a campaign. So we worked pretty hard with the committee to address those issues and go through a lot of different content so that we could succinctly tell the story of what the community is about to embark on. So that was one committee that worked hard on that one. The other committee that I was working with directly was that of Leadership Recruitment Committee, where we were identifying individuals within the community that could represent this campaign and represent a good cross-section of this community so that we could reach out into all sectors of the community. So we worked hard at putting a small team together to start looking at names and reviewing that, and we were able to come up with some individuals, and you've probably already seen in your material so far that I brought with me tonight the chair of the campaign, and I'll introduce him in one moment after we get a chance to comment a few more things. So over the last few months, the focus has been on materials and on recruitment of leadership, making sure that we've got a good solid team, but also starting to put the infrastructure of a campaign together to make sure that we've got the necessary tools to unfold a campaign and the infrastructure in terms of staffing to support it. That has been dealt with in terms of Wendy, who apparently gets a lot of fun and interesting tasks. Will also be taking on a role as coordinator of our campaign and be the point person for us within the municipality to ensure that our calls are being made correctly and to ensure that we're not making duplicate calls and other things that could happen. So she is definitely the gatekeeper and the point person for us, which will be very helpful. With Wendy, we've been working on trying to establish a database, and we're going to start working now with our team to look at prospecting. Later this week, we have we have the opportunity to bring our team together. All members of our team will be able to be there, and we'll be doing some orientation and training with them so they're all comfortable with the approach that we're going to make to the community. Once we get through that process, we're comfortable that after our first official meeting as a campaign team, we'll have the opportunity to start making calls pretty rapidly and pretty quickly. And we know some of the major calls that we want to make soon, and we're going to target those in the front end of the campaign. The last thing I'd like to say before I introduce the chair to you, which will come as no surprise to you, but the last thing I'd like to say is just I want to thank the staff, in particular Brent and Wendy have been extremely helpful, and others within the staff to make this process happen pretty smoothly and move forward quite rapidly. I have a personal thanks to the fire chief for being there one day when I needed him, but all's good. So that's an important part too. We, as we move into the campaign, we are going to be moving out into the community, and you might wonder what your role might be within this structure. We encourage all of you to be a part of this campaign. And to embrace this campaign. We set the campaign up so that it meets the community on its own, so that the campaign stands alone in the community, but we need the support. We need you as ambassadors of this campaign. We need you to talk to friends, neighbors, and colleagues. And when you can, if you think you have a contact that's important to us, bring it to us. And we will certainly look at it, and we would encourage you to help us open those doors if we're not able to make those calls. But I think you're going to be happy with the team that we've put together and how we might be able to reach out into every sector of the community. When we spoke last time, we spoke how important it was to include families in this team, so young families, and get that part. You know, we're reaching out to what's going to become a new community. There's going to be a lot of people joining this community. They need to feel welcome and be a part of this as well. So we need to reach out to young families. We need to reach out to the agricultural community. We need to reach out to the industrial community, and we also needed to reach out to the Dutch community. We knew those things going in from the study. What I would like to do now is ask Chris to, I will introduce Chris Fuhrer as our campaign chair. We were thrilled that he accepted that role, and we didn't really have to do much arm twisting to get him to be there. He represents a great cross-section for us in a variety of ways. But beyond that, well connected within this community and well respected. And so Chris is going to introduce or tell you who else is on our team, and then we'll share the opportunity to answer any questions you might have. Thanks.
Thanks, Glenn. Sort of weird here talking about the recreation facility in a different light, and it's exciting for me. I'm honored to be able to have the opportunity to chair the capital campaign and support the Township of West Lincoln as we move forward with this new facility. Over the last 2 months, we've been putting together a strong team of individuals who share a commitment to the community of West Lincoln and believe that this first-class recreational and community facility will create a positive, long-lasting impact. The members of the team, I'll start with our honorary campaign chair, will be the Witt family. The rest of the team is made up of myself. Fred Vroekdeveen will be the deputy chair. Brenda Walker, Mike Kaiser, Gary McBlain, and Tony Campfeis. I'm very happy with the structure of this team. We all get along well, and I think everybody brings a unique element to the team, and we'll be able to have an impact as we move forward with the campaign. As the campaign evolves, additional community volunteers will be brought on board, and we're hoping they will share their passion and excitement for the project while helping us raise and meet the $1.5 million goal. Over the next few months, the team will be working together with Glenn to finalize plans before launching the public campaign sometime in early spring. You know, as you drive by, we see that structure begin to finally take shape. And as it takes shape, I can feel a sense of excitement and community pride, and we all look forward to the opening of the facility and its amenities. The campaign team hopes to build on this energy over the next few months in an effort to not only raise funds, but to further develop relationships and partnerships between individuals and business within West Lincoln as we continue to build a vibrant, family-friendly community anchored by this first-class facility. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this point in time, questions?
Yep, any questions, comments? I have Councilor Trombetta.
Thank you, Chairman Bell. Thanks, Glenn and
You'll get it.
Chris, for coming out tonight. Just wanted to say that's a very strong team you guys got there. That's going forward. It's major names, and that's looks good for this community. I just wanted to ask, I know, Glenn, we've talked before. What about, and I know you have your targets for certain, obviously, businessmen and people in the agricultural field and all that kind of stuff. What about the average person that wants to donate $50? And not just say $50 for just donating, but they want some name, or if it's on a brick, or if it's a seat, or some sort of, they can leave sort of a little legacy themselves. How do we attract that and let people know what their $50 is going to go to, or $10, let's just say?
Sure. Thanks, Jason. So there's two components to this campaign. As we start to move forward in the campaign now with the team, we're going to be focusing on what we refer to as our quiet phase. So we will be making an announcement. So we'll put together a formal announcement of here's the team, here's the structure, the campaign theme, Together, a Vibrant Tomorrow. And this is the look of the campaign. We'll put all that out there, and then we'll go out and quietly talk to individuals that have the capacity to achieve those major gifts. So that's going back off of, I think we spoke about this in the past, about that 80-20 rule, where 80% of the donations will come from 20% of the donors. So that's where we're going to focus our first attention, is trying to secure those major ones. And then what we will plan to do is by hopefully, I mean, it depends how quickly we can move through our quiet phase, but the plan is that somewhere around May, we will be looking at starting to make more of a community approach to this campaign. And that's when there'll be the opportunity for any individual or every individual to participate in this campaign. We feel strongly that once we've secured the bulk of the resources to make this campaign successful, then we can turn that door open and ask everybody to participate in it. But we feel strongly that everybody has the opportunity to leave some sort of legacy. So we have not yet decided on the price to name a seat. That's something that the committee will discuss and look at, and look at the value of where we want to go with that. Our recommendation usually is to go at a very affordable price and try and sell out all the seats, as opposed to setting the price higher and sell out a handful of them. We want this to be a legacy for the community. We want this to be a part where everyone can feel they've done something to make a difference in this campaign. So there'll be opportunities that way. We've also looked at recognition, and we've identified that within the recognition, there's two components. There is a component of a donor recognition wall or unit of some sort that will likely be on the wall facing on the outside of the elevators, is the wall that we've been looking at as an option. And there we will name everyone who's participated in the campaign, regardless of the level. If it can be receipted, if it's a gift that can be receipted, and that number, I think, was identified as $20, anything above $20 could be receipted, and if that was the case, they would receive some recognition within the building. The second component to recognition is that of naming opportunities, and that's where we look at specific components of the facility and try to attract more significant gifts or larger gifts. So that's components that are the gymnasium, the arena, the library, the other meeting rooms, and those kinds of things that could attract a more significant gift. We have a list of those that we've compiled, and we've assigned potential values to those, and we've looked at that as a team. We're all comfortable that should we be able to secure those, we could probably, just in those naming opportunities alone, we can surpass the $1.5 million goal. So there will be options, and there will be lots of opportunities, and we have a committee within our campaign structure that will be looking solely at community engagement and trying to get those individual gifts and participate as many clubs, organizations, and other things that would like to participate in this campaign.
Excellent, thank you, Glenn. And I just want to, sorry, one more thing, Mr. Chair. I just want to say thanks, Chris, for taking on this role. It's much appreciated by myself and I know you'll do a great job, and yeah, all the best, guys, and it's full steam ahead, I guess, so thank you.
Councilor Chichak?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and through you. Does your father know you're doing this? All joking aside, but I met Chris outside at the arena back a while ago, and he told me he was taking a sabbatical so that he could help get the family farm back into shape.
Yes.
I'm impressed, Chris. That plus this, and that leads to where I was going, and that is, I echo what Councillor Trombetta has already said, and that is, thank you for taking this on. I admire the team that you've got behind you, and I'm glad, and it's probably largely because of you, that they've all come on board and that they feel as passionate as they do about getting onto the campaign cabinet. Could you just tell me where you're going to be and how you're going to be following us around? So I'll go the other way. No, a successful campaign is where everyone contributes and where those that are at the center make the first acknowledgement that this is a worthy cause. So I look forward to those discussions in the very near future, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you all. And good work, and thank you for doing it.
Anyone else? Any comments? I just have one. Thank you, Glenn, for your presentation. Thanks for the hard work. And Chris, thank you for taking this on. And thank you both for the committee you've put together. And I know there's many other people you'll be bringing on board. Sincerely, thank you. And Chris, could you please provide the clerk with a copy of your today, tomorrow, if you want to email it? Sure. That'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is any members of the public present who wish to address any items on the Administration, Finance, Fire Committee agenda. Seeing none? No, they canceled. That was Architecture 49 from Ball Construction. They'll be coming back next month. Okay, next is Fire Department update, item AO-18, Chief Dennis Fisher.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A very busy December for West Lincoln Fire. Station 1 had 33 calls, Station 2 had 11, and Pelham had 6. A few notes. Fire prevention is bringing a JK class in on the 26th, which Eric Weaver will be doing. And as far as activities, Family Day is February the 19th. We have been in touch with Wendy in regards to Family Day, and she had requested, because Poultry Fest is non-existent anymore, that whether the fire department would take up the breakfast part of the morning. So both stations, 1 and 2, will be doing the breakfast and the lunch on Family Day. So it'll be a very busy day, breakfast, lunch, and then hockey in the afternoon. So guys are looking forward to it. Just kind of making some plans now, but putting the committee together. But other than that, as far as activities, it's been pretty quiet. Call volume was extremely busy. Outside of that, that's pretty much it.
Any questions, comments? Seeing none? Thank you, Chief. Okay, next would be the consent agenda. All items listed below are considered to be routine, non-controversial, and can be approved by one resolution. There will be no separate discussions on these items unless council member requests it, in which case an item will be removed from the consent resolution and considered immediately following the adoption of the remaining consent agenda. Item A05-18, 1, Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee, November 9th, 2017. 2 is Recommendation Report RFD-C-04-2018, Approval of Agreement on a Share of Assessment Land, Due Land Severance. 3 is Recommendation Report WLFD-08-18, Updating West Lincoln Township Health and Safety Policy Bylaw pages. The recommendations, the Administration Finance Fire Committee hereby approve the following consent agenda items. 1, item 1, 2, be and is hereby accepted, and items 2 and 3 be hereby received, and that the recommendations contained therein be adopted. Is there any exceptions? Okay. I need a mover and a okay. Counselor Billsman and Counselor Chichek. Okay, all those in favor? It's carried. Okay, communications. Item A06-18, Kim Van Ravensway. Request for a new school guard crossing at the intersections of Oakdale Boulevard, George Kakakis Drive, Oakdale Boulevard, and Golden Acres Drive. Recommendation that the correspondence be received by email from Kim Van Ravensway on behalf of a number of residents of the Harvest Gate Estina plan of subdivision dated December 16, 2017, requesting that the crossing guard be placed at the intersection of Oakdale Boulevard, George Kakakis Drive, and Oakdale Boulevard and Golden Acres Drive to accommodate for children crossing at these intersections for Smithville Public School be received and referred to staff to retain a consultant firm to complete a school crossing guard warrant report for those two intersections in the fall of 2018 and report back to future committee meeting thereafter. I need a mover, seconder. Councilor Trombetta, Councilor Billsman. Councilor Trombetta.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Geez, you're 15th tonight.
I don't know, sorry, I was thinking of just calling you by your first name, but it's Mr. Chair tonight, sorry about that. I know this intersection well. I drop off my kids to get watched in the morning at sometimes during the week before they can go to school, so I can get off to work in the morning early. And I come through there, and I pass that intersection a lot. And I know that off of Oakdale there, north, there's a lot more homes that have just been developed up there. I don't know the exact number, how many, but that Oakdale coming out of there is pretty much the outlet for that whole subdivision, unless you come back out and then go to 14 and then loop around. But to get into Smithville, that Oakdale to in front of Yorgakakos Drive there is a real busy intersection. So my concerns are that, you know, the crossing guard during school times is good, but you know, I think that some intersection that's a busy intersection almost warrants a stop sign, a four-way stop there. I've been there a couple times early in the morning where people are just ripping through there and not realizing that they don't have a stop on Yorgakakos Boulevard there, but there is one on Oakdale, and you know, you could get people quick in the rush in the way to work in the morning, and especially with all those people coming out of that subdivision there, you could probably cause a big issue for that little intersection there. And I only know this because, like I said, I drop off my kids 2 times a week to get watched before they get to school, and I drop them off right there. So again, I think that this should maybe have to, not that I'm against the crossing guard, I think it's warranted too, but I think maybe we should get this maybe referred back to our public works to see if a four-way stop can, what are the conditions we can get a four-way stop there. Because I think with all those residents that are actually moving in now, it's going to be a busy intersection in the future. So I'll leave it, quite sure maybe some other of my colleagues might have some comments about this. If not, then I'd like to maybe put a motion we could.
So to, just before you go too far, it is going to come back in Public Works.
Oh, okay.
I've already discussed it with staff and.
At least I can speak to it now, because I probably wouldn't be able to speak to it in Public Works.
And I've asked to bring it back under
Well, I won't be able to put a
Public
motion.
Works under
I'd
other,
have
so
to step down.
it will be addressed in Public Works.
Okay.
We are going to speak to it.
So I don't need to put anything forward now, I guess, right? if it's, would you rather just, we can
Well,
discuss it then, or?
We felt
Chair?
it belonged in Public Works. That's where it's going to be going, Mr. Julian, so. You okay with that?
It's fine, a lot of
Okay.
Public Works agendas are going on these other agendas lately, no problem.
Councilor Chichak?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I don't have any of my children there, but I do have children I'm related to that I am in that neighborhood as often or more than Councillor Trombetta, and I know that that intersection has been and continues to be of concern to a lot of people, including the two ward councillors, yourself and Councillor Ganan. So I do believe that you're working with this, and you've done a lot of work on it. So I don't want to refer it back. I want it to continue through the ward councillors to come back at the appropriate time, and staff to talk to us about the alternatives, because I understand from staff back when that there is, pardon me, that there is not sufficient warrants for a four-way stop at this time, right? And I think a lot of the kids just got put on buses because the St. Martin's kids that used to walk from there now are on buses. So I just don't want to put the cart before the horse on referring it back. I'll leave it with the ward councillors and staff to deal with this and appropriately come back when there's some issues resolved.
So again, it is going to be brought up again in Public Works in the next meeting, so you'll have more opportunity to discuss it a little further.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone? Councilor? No one else? Okay. Seeing none? Okay. Excuse me. You've heard the recommendation. All those in favor? All those in favor? Hello? Hello? Thank you. You've heard the recommendation. All those in favor? Okay. It's carried. Okay, next up is item A07-18, Municipal Ministry of Affairs, Township of West Lincoln Financial Indicator Review based on 2016 FIR and municipal groupings for Solution Ontario Township of West Lincoln, and it's for information. I need a mover and a seconder. No, we don't, sorry. I've just been corrected, sorry. So, okay, so we'll just move on then. Okay. C is item A08-18. It's a Grant Thornton Auditors. It's a report to council, Auditor Strategy, Township of West Lincoln for the year ended December 31st, 2017. And it's for information also. Any questions, comments on that? Okay. Councilor Chichak?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I've been noticing on a number of strategies that are being put together by the various accounting firms that an exercise is being done for education of both the auditors and the staff to take a particular process and have everyone involved in the process there to determine and define all the steps in the process. Is Grant Thornton offering one of those opportunities to us for a process that we, through you, Mr. Chair, might identify?
Treasurer?
Through you, Chairman Bell, if Councillor Chichak could provide some clarification in terms of more detail. I don't know anything being offered right now,
Okay.
but if
Okay.
you can clarify what you mean by process?
Okay, so there's, auditors are not doing the process mapping that they used to do, but there is a process they're calling performance improvement. And what they will do is they'll take a process, accounts payable, it's probably a bad one, but procurement. And then they're mapping the process of everything from a request to purchase, all the way through the process, right to the payment, the arrival and the payment. And the expectation or the learning that's happening is that everyone who's involved now understands what everybody else is doing, and there may be some redundancies built in over the years where some people are still approving something that is already sufficiently approved. So if it's not happening, it's not a big deal. I just happen to notice it on a couple of boards that I happen to be familiar with, and it's just one of these things that auditors are starting to do. So I just wondered if we were doing anything like that with Grant Thornton.
Through you, Chairman Bell, thank you for the clarification. Councillor Chichok, yes, annually, the staff from Grant Thornton document our processes. They take something from cradle to grave, they call it, where they start with the beginning of the process and up to the end, and they track it, and they also look for the source documents to prove that the approvals are being done. So they do it with most of our processes, payroll, accounts payable, and our tax system, our tax billing. So yes, it's being done.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none. D, item A, 09-18, Niagara Region, Office of Regional Clerk, Report CSD 77-2017, Commercial and Industrial Subclass, Tax Rate Reductions and Rebates. It's for information. Any questions? No? Seeing none, move on to staff reports. Item A, 10-18, Treasurer Director of Finance, Recommendation Report, number RFD-T-01-18, Bill 148 Implications. The recommendation, 1, that the report RFD-T-02-18 regarding the Bill 148 implications be received, and 2, that the staff be and hereby are directed to continue to review the impact of Bill 148 of the township and report to council as required, and 3, that staff be and hereby directed to include the estimated expenditures as provided in the report in 2018 budget. I need a mover and a seconder. Councilor Gadan, Councilor Trevetta. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, you've heard the recommendation. All those in favor? Carried. Item A, 11-18, Treasurer Director of Finance, Recommendation Report, RFD-T-02-18, 2016 Assessment Management Plan. Recommendation that report RFD-T-02-18 regarding 2016 Assessment Management Plan dated January 22nd, 2018 be received, and that 2, that the 2016 Assessment Management Plan of the Township of West Lincoln prepared by the Public Sector Digest attached as Appendix A of this report be accepted, and 3, that the staff be directed to review the funding opportunities available through the FCM, Federation of Canadian Municipalities, for the report back to council, and 4, that staff be directed to present to council as part of the 2018 budget process the impact of the increase in tax levy by 3.6% as allocated towards the assessment replacement. I need a mover and a seconder. Councilor Bilsma, Councilor Chichak. Any questions, comments? Okay, seeing none. Heard the recommendation. All those in favor? Carried. C, item A, 12-18, Treasurer and Director of Finance, for information report, number RFI-T-03-18, New Assessment Management Plan and Regulation. Recommendation, the report RFI-T-03-18 regarding the New Assessment Management Plan Regulation dated January 22nd, 2018, be received for information. Mover and seconder, Councilor Bilzma, Councilor Chichak. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, you heard the recommendation. All those in favor? Carried. Item A13-18, Treasurer Director Finance, Recommendation Report, RFD-T-04-18, Charitable Donations Receipt Policy. Recommendation that report RFD-T-04-18 regarding charitable donations receipt policy dated January 22nd, 2018 be received for information, and that council adopt POL-T-01-18 charitable donations receipt policy accepted as Appendix A to this report. I I need a mover and a seconder. Councilor Gadan, Councilor Chichak. Any questions, comments? You've heard the recommendation. All those in favor? Carried. Item A14-18, Deputy Clerk. Recommendation report RFD-01-2018, application for refreshment cart license and leasing portion of the CIBC parking lot. Ken Brunaccioni, Dog Got It, hot dog cart. Recommendation 1. The report RFD-C-01-2018 dated January 2018 regarding application for refreshment cart license and lease portion of the CIBC parking lot, Ken Brunaccioni, Dog Got It, hot dog cart be received, and that the request to enter into a monthly lease agreement with Ken Brunaccioni for lease a portion of lands of the CIBC parking lot as outlined on Schedule A be approved, and that the application for the refreshment cart license as submitted by Ken Brunaccioni, subject to council's approval for entering into a monthly lease agreement, be approved, and that the bylaw be presented to authorize a monthly lease agreement with Ken Brunaccioni for use of a portion of the land in the CIBC parking lot for hot dog cart. I need a mover and a seconder. Councilor Bilsman, Councilor Cadan. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, you've heard the recommendation. All those in favor? Carried. Item A15-18, Deputy Clerk. Recommendation report RFD-02-18-2018 summer and October, December meeting schedule. Recommendation 1. The report RFD-C-02-2018 dated January 22nd, 2018 regarding the 2018 summer and October to December meeting schedules be received, and that the meeting schedules for the months of July and August and October to December 2018 tentative, as provided in Schedule A, to this report be approved. I need a mover and a seconder. Councilor Chibretta, Councilor Bilsma. Heard in the recommendation. Any questions, comments? Councilor Gadan.
Question, if I could, and I don't know who it
Certainly.
would go to, either the clerk or deputy clerk perhaps, whether the summer dates are etched in stone. I noticed that the August one has been moved a week earlier. Obviously, my preference would be for the July one to be moved a week earlier too, if that doesn't interfere with everything else going on, but
Nothing is extra, so. I think to the clerk. Go ahead, Joanne.
Through you, Chair. Val, the reason why the August one was, it normally is the week after. It was moved up because the mayor was attending the annual conference and requested it be moved to August 13th. And I'd like the July one only because that's the only week I can possibly want all these that week before because of the election. So the July one being the week that we've chosen to help me a lot. Because of the election. There's a lot going on in that last
period of time.
part,
Yeah.
so I have to be here, so it kind of helpful if I got I only have the opportunity of 1 week in July. And,
Fair enough.
That's kind of helping me a lot. Okay, thanks.
Does that, you okay with that, Councilor Cadan?
That's a week that we're always away too, so it's okay. Joanne's reason is probably more important than mine right now.
You can still go. Any other questions or comments? Councilor Chichak?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I guess we had a bit of a talk last week or sometime about meetings, and we were told this is coming, and I don't have a problem. I will adjust our calendars as long as we're given lots of notice. But it certainly is starting to be, we should be sensitive, or I'm looking at a sensitivity to people's vacation not being here, the public meetings that we need to hit and hold, and having people here for them. So the issue last week was March break. And what I'm saying is we don't have to deal with it, because I think we dealt with it last week. But certainly I would like for the clerk's department to look at March break, because now with private schools and schools in the community that may take 2 weeks or alternate weeks, we don't want important issues. We don't want people saying, you did that because we weren't going to be here, and that's not the case. So there's March, the July and August ones, we try and limit the agendas because no one's here, and we don't delegate a heck of a lot to our staff. And aside from an election year, the December meetings seem to run up towards Christmas, where people are making choices on whether or not, if I remember right, last year it was Christmas concerts or to come and listen to us. So I'm not sure how you could ever have a second idea. Why wouldn't it be us, right? No. So I just think that many other communities are being much more sensitive to March break and to December, and I'd like us to take that into consideration as we move forward.
So, Councilor Chichuk, are you asking to move something forward that staff revisit this issue?
I would like that, well,
motion
and they will,
and
but that'll be the new council, so I'm saying that they put it on their agenda and
For future.
to review with the new council immediately after the caucus meeting, where they're going to formulate the calendar for the following year. That's what I would like to make sure is a staff direction. It needn't, actually, I'm not going to demand that it be in as another recommendation, but that sensitivity to those items be put forward by staff at the caucus meeting to be held in November.
Anyone else? Questions, comments? You got that? Fine. Councilor Chichuk would like to have it put in there. You've got it all in there? Okay. Okay. Heard and everything? No more questions, comments? All those in favor? Carried. Excuse me. Item A16-18, Acting CEO Clerk. Report RFD-C-03-18, Citizen Appointment to West Lincoln Age Friendly Advisory Committee. Recommendation of the recommendations report RFD-C-03-18 dated January 22nd, 2018, regarding the citizens' appointment to the West Lincoln Age Friendly Advisory Committee be received, and that the following citizens be appointed: Sue Langley, Annette Tony Mills, Linda Sevier,
Sevier.
Madeline Switzer, Debbie Thomas, and Dave Willis. That bylaw 2014-117 be amended by adding an additional schedule to confirm the appointments to the West Lincoln Age Friendly Advisory Committee, and that the confidential secretary be appointed as a recording secretary for all the meetings. I need a mover and a seconder. Councilor Gadan and Councilor Trombetta. So, any questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Item A17-18, Deputy Clerk Recommendation Report, RFD-05-2018, Advanced Voting and Impact, Dates, Times, and Issues. Recommendation, the report RFD-C-05-2018, dated January 22nd, 2018, regarding advanced voting, important dates, times, and issues be received, and that bylaw to establish advanced vote dates, times, and locations for 2018 municipal elections as proposed under Section 9 of this report be adopted. I need a mover and a seconder. Councilor Bilsman and Councilor Trombetta. Questions, comments? Seeing none? Yeah, we heard it. All those in favor? Carries. Okay, moving on to other business. Acting CEO Clerk, Employees Professional Accomplishments for Information, Stephen Hyatt, Ontario Recreation Facility Association. Actually, do you want to do this one? Sure.
Through you to members of the committee, we always like to certainly mention when one of the employees has completed a course for advancement, and Steve Hyde did his Ontario Rec Facility Association, and he completed the requirements for professional designation, and that would be a certified ice technician, and he also recertified. So we congratulate him on his efforts, and we wanted to bring that to your attention.
Any questions, comments, anything? No. We move on to item A19-18, members of committee, verbal updates from members, boards, committees. Seeing none. And the other is item 20-18, members of committees, other business items, informative nature. Seeing none. I have one. I would like to say that last Thursday, January 18th, attended a meeting at the Legion. This community would like to bring back service club or service clubs into our community. And the meeting was held. It was good attendance. We heard from 4 different service clubs that presented that night. There was a lot of interest from the members that were there. These are people that want to get involved in it. They want to bring it back. Happy to say that it appears that they're off to a good start. They need more people to get involved. And if you want to be involved, there's another meeting tomorrow night at 7 p.m. right here in this council chambers. It will take place. And I encourage you, if you're the slightest bit interested, come on out. At least have a listen. There will be another presentation put on by one more club tomorrow night, and after that, we talk about who they're going to choose and who they're going to select and so on. So I do encourage you that come on out and at least have a listen at the very least. On Saturday also, I attended the College Street walkabout that they had in their new facility. And I must say that the conversion from the high school to a public school is very nice. Really well done. It was interesting to see some of the wee ones walking around in an awe. They were just staring at lockers and looking up at them like, wow. Seems to be a lot of happy parents. Unfortunately, we did lose the high school. That was the downside. But the very positive side is that they've got a beautiful facility for our students moving forward. It's great. And anybody that's driving their kids to school or dropping them off, I really urge you just extra care, because you know what, that's a lot of vehicles, a lot of small kids, and that's where things happen around playgrounds and schools. So I just urge you to take a lot of extra care and caution. That's all I got. Thanks for the time. Okay. So any new business? Oh.
Sure.
Yep.
I forgot to mention this earlier. I was hoping that we could, if it's the appropriate time, I know it's under new business, but to move the confidential matters to the end of Public Works, if possible, if that doesn't...
If council agrees, I don't have a...
Just say Brent doesn't have to. So I'd like to put forward a motion, unless Brent wants to stay. I don't need a motion?
As long as everybody agrees, everybody okay with moving at the end? We're good. We got lucky.
Councillor Bell?
Yes, Council Chichak.
I was just making sure that I had the dates in for our proposed meetings, and I note that on the report that we just approved, Schedule A, it has Election Day, Monday, October 27th. 29th or 22nd, right? So I just don't want anybody to miss that day. It might be a little important. Thank you.
Any others? Okay. 12 confidential matters. Item A21-18. Oh, sorry. Sorry. We need to go back to number 11. We started, but we didn't finish it. New business. Only items that require immediate attention and direction must first approve. Motion to introduce a new item of business. Any new business? Seeing none? Okay. And We're going to recess and come back into confidential after the Public Works Recreation Committee meeting at 7:30 PM.